Few years ago, there was a trend on TikTok that involved tapping your fingers together with the beat of a song. Nothing more, nothing less. Just true harmless fun. Like most trends on this platform, many people took part in the activity, and with nothing different between each variation, once you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. However, confusing many was a user within the mix who seemed to topple a million other uploads, with a version of the trend that skyrocketed to 18.3 million views. The account was new, the user's name was just a scramble of letters, and the description simply included a single letter, and hashtags that linked to the trend she was participating in, and oddly included, one for Missouri. If you look on the user's account, you will find multiple versions of this trend, all involving the same thing, a short little game played with your fingers. However, looking at the description to all of the videos, you can find a different single letter appearing in each description. And when combined, they spell out a single word that caught the attention of millions of people. Help. People began examining the videos more, and noticed that at the beginning of each video, the user would make the same hand movement. One that involved holding your thumb with your 4 other fingers, or as those more familiar with the movement described, the universal signal requesting for help. It was clear that something was terribly wrong, and quickly many began flooding the account in search of ways to help. However, shortly after this discovery, would the account upload its most disturbing video yet.
My boyfriend is abusing me mentally and physically. He's had me hostage, and I told him I can't contact my family or friends. It's extreme domestic violence going on. This is not a joke. I live in Missouri. He gave me a phone, but he's monitoring it. I asked you to talk. I didn't keep monitoring my phone, but he went out now. So he doesn't see my phone anymore. So it's the one time I can call for help. I'm going to take this down, please. If anyone lives in Missouri, please contact me, please.
A woman in full hysteria was crying and screaming for help, claiming that she had been kidnapped. In the video, she mentions that her name was Elizabeth, giving a minor lead to those looking for a way to help, and realizing that this woman was in danger gave the perfect explanation as to why #Missouri was apparent in every upload. This was likely the state where the kidnapping occurred. Doing some research, viewers found that a woman by the name Elizabeth Pickens went missing on December 3rd, 2021 from Jefferson City, Missouri, the exact date that the first video was uploaded to the TikTok account. What we may have been witnessing was the desperate pleas for help by somebody with little time left. However, many viewers criticized the speculation, claiming that someone kidnapped would never have access to a phone. I think it's safe to say that it's always wise to trust that these accounts are being for real, as ignoring these videos could pose catastrophic risks to the woman involved. However, shortly after this, would the entire account be deleted, with no resolution as to what had occurred. Elizabeth Pickens remains missing to this day. Helping make this video possible, I'd like to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, MyHeritage. In this video, we're going to be talking about a few criminals that actually hid their past from their own relatives, and it might just be me, but that's something that I might want to know about sooner than later. Trusted by 9 million users, MyHeritage is the leading global service for family history research and DNA testing. Using their platform, I was able to create my own family tree and research dozens of family members I didn't even know existed. For me, this is actually really important, as one side of my family I barely even know and the other came from an entirely different country. Using MyHeritage, I was able to find out more about family members I've never heard of, like my great-great-grandparents Nicole and Giovannina, who apparently changed their last name, meaning there's a whole branch to my family tree I didn't even know existed. I'm even able to add any relevant info I may have to expand their family legacy. Even if you don't know much about your family's origins, MyHeritage can find new family members and records of your ancestors for you with little effort, using their collection of 20 billion historical documents. With just a click of a button, I can use MyHeritage's instant discovery feature to add entire branches straight to my family tree. If I'm lucky, MyHeritage's AI recovery system might even locate me an old historical photo, making me closer to my roots than I've ever been before. To start building your family tree today, use the link at the top of the description or scan this QR code for a 14-day MyHeritage free trial. Thank you so much, MyHeritage, for sponsoring today's video. And now, let's get back to today's content. On July 15th of 2021, would Jackson Wood, a 19-year-old from Danville, Kentucky, go to work at a job that was practically made for him. He was a commercial diver for LG&E's power plant, a job that was very reminiscent to his love for swimming. He swam competitively for many years, tracing his love for the activity all the way back to when he was a small child. He also shared this love with many of his siblings, some of which also competitively swam as well. That's why when Jackson got a job diving with his older brother, it seemed like a dream come true. They both could pursue a career swimming together, just as they did when they were young children. On this day, Jackson was tasked with diving underwater and inspecting the intake pipes and screens. He slowly descended, just as he normally did. However, while he was being guided by the crew members on the surface, would Jackson's audio communication unexpectedly be cut. They fought to regain the communication channel, however the signal was entirely lost. As time passed and Jackson had not returned to the surface, both the crew members and even Jackson's older brother became incredibly worried. As it turned out, there was a malfunction within the pipe and it rapidly sucked in Jackson Wood, forcing his last moments to be one of fear and silence, as he drowned deep within the water he loved for so many years. The following day, they recovered his body, unfortunately confirming his death, and only a short time later would a memorial ceremony be held by his former swim coach. And at the end of this TikTok, would the video cut to a humorous edit, bringing a sense of lighthearted humor to an otherwise tragic situation. Many people criticized the older brother because of this, however I'm sure he knew best what Jackson would or would not like. On March 24th of 2022, would 14-year-old Tyree Sampson go to the Icon theme park in Orlando, Florida with his two best friends. They planned to go on the Freefall Drop Tower, a 430 feet freefall amusement ride. However, unbeknownst to any of the children, Tyree's attendance on this ride was a severe safety hazard. This was a photo taken just before the ride began to elevate. The boys on the left are safely locked in, however, as you can see, Tyree's harness is obviously loose. The harnesses reportedly had sensors in them to alert ride conductors of unsafe passengers. However, they don't prohibit the ride from actually activating. The appropriate alerts were reportedly made, however, the warning was missed. And as the ride began to elevate, Tyree could quickly tell that something was terribly wrong. As the ride slowly ascended over 400 feet, Tyree began to sweat and rapidly panic. He didn't know what to do, but to be honest, there was nothing that could be done. He was already too high to scream for help, so as the ride approached the top, in the seconds before the fall, Tyree turned to his friends and said, "Tell my mom and dad I love them." Tyree slipped through his harness during the drop and didn't survive the fall. Rylee Goodrich, an 18-year-old recent graduate who lived in California, posted this TikTok on the platform. And in all honesty, there really isn't anything exceedingly interesting about it. To me, it just seemed like a bored young woman looking for some time to kill, and she had a few hours to spare before a date she had with 19-year-old Anthony Barguerez, a popular TikTok star with over 1 million followers. The two were having a fantastic time and went to go see a movie at the Corona movie theater. However, it would be here that they unfortunately crossed paths with 23-year-old Joseph Jimenez. Jimenez reported that he was hearing voices, commands that were growing louder in his head, hideous, permanent acts of violence that would torment him toward insanity. Joseph Jimenez shot and killed Rylee and Anthony. Jimenez was charged with the murder of 2 young teens. Despite arguments from his attorney that Jimenez was insane at the time of the killings, the judge ruled that he was aware of his own actions and their wrongfulness, and he had plenty of opportunity to cease his actions if he truly willed. Jimenez received a life sentence without the possibility of parole, putting him behind bars for the rest of his life.
Like, you ain't got nothing on you right now. What would you do, fool?
Damn about that, fool.
On July 8th of 2021, would rapper Zyrel Dijon Rivera, aka Indian Red Boy, join an Instagram live stream with one of his fellow influencer friends, Baby Capone. The two were discussing the mural of late rapper Nipsey Hussle, who died only a few years prior. Apparently, prior to this live stream, would Rivera deface this mural. As it turns out, Rivera was heavily involved in gang-related violence. He was a member of the Bloods gang and wasn't afraid to take action in various illegal activities in the name of his organization. Shortly after the point in which this clip was recorded, would Rivera, the man at the top of the screen, glare out of his window and inspect someone approaching him. However, without even a second to react, would shots be fired, leaving Rivera defenseless and injured, gasping for air as he bled out, live on Instagram. Capone quickly jumped to action and asked Rivera where he was, and with his last breaths, he whispered, "Hawthorne, help," and passed away right there. His disrespect to Nipsey Hussle caught the attention of rival gang members, and many people wanted action to be taken against Rivera. There was even a freestyle performed by famous rapper The Game where he exclaims, "Anyone who disrespects Nipsey Hussle deserves to die." Rivera found himself mixed up with the wrong crowd at a young age and paid the ultimate price because of this. I'm sure he felt real powerful and renowned in this moment, but at what cost? I'm sure if he knew what would have come from his actions, he would have done things a little differently. However, unfortunately, it's far too late. The live stream death of Indian Red Boy went viral across all social media. The next viral TikTok takes place in Texas. Shortly after the 2 girls who appear in this video stumbled across the deceased remains of 25-year-old male Marcus Adams. Although morbid, you could wonder if this TikTok was a grief response to a traumatic event, as using someone's death as a means to internet popularity is wildly disrespectful. However, what was discovered after was beyond disturbing. When the 2 girls found Marcus's body, they didn't scream, nor did they rush to call the police, but instead laughed and began posting videos of Marcus's corpse on their Snapchat accounts. One of the girls even went as far as complimenting the necklace Marcus was wearing at the time of his death, and eventually stealing it off of his cold corpse. The entirety of this, including the theft of Marcus's chain, was all clearly documented on the woman's own Snapchat accounts. They would then return home, showing no remorse for their actions, and record this TikTok, continuing their disgusting attempt at viral publicity at the hands of a dead man's misfortune. Thankfully, the woman's actions would quickly come back to haunt them, as multiple people who follow the girl's account would report the content to the police, and eventually, the 2 would be arrested and charged with theft of a human corpse. This goes without saying, but most insulted from all of this was Marcus's own family. They lost the life of someone dear to them that day, and seeing his remains get defiled like they did was beyond shocking and insulting. The family says what happened was insensitive and cruel, but they will continue to fight to honor the memory of the man they loved.
What does that say? Oh, it's so cute. What? What?
In September of 2019, would Steven Weber and his girlfriend Kanisha Antoine take a vacation off the east coast of Africa. They stayed at the luxurious Manta Resort that featured attractive cabins with bedrooms submerged in a glass box beneath the ocean. However, offering an amazing view while you sleep wasn't the only reason that Steven reserved this resort. See, Steven was in love. He wanted to spend the rest of his life with Kanisha and planned this trip as a means to propose. After spending a few days exploring the resort and having the time of their lives, would Steven plan to get on one knee in a, unorthodox way. He used the underwater bedroom as an opportunity to propose in his own unique way. He put on goggles and told his girlfriend he was going to visit her through the glass underneath the ocean. And as Kanisha waited, she watched as Steven submerged beneath the water, oddly holding what appeared to be a piece of paper. As he swam closer, he pressed the paper against the window, revealing to Kanisha what he had planned all along: his proposal. However, moments after this video cuts and Kanisha rushed to the surface, would she discover something terrifying. Steven never made it back to the top. Although the swim back up was only 26 feet, he was unable to reach the surface in time before running out of oxygen. Kanisha was unable to reach him after discovering what had happened and flagged down nearby boaters who retrieved Steven and began performing CPR. A light pulse was initially found. However, they were ultimately unable to revive him. It was discovered that Steven's note read, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you. Will you please be my wife?" And after knowing this, the tragedy of Steven becomes far more tragic when rewatching his proposal. You can slowly see him move quicker, almost as if he realizes he's running out of air. However, he still waits between his actions to allow his girlfriend enough time to read the note and celebrate the moment. He loved her so much and was willing to risk his life to show it. I'm sure both would have rather had the situation end differently. However, this act of deep passion unfortunately caused a quick end to an otherwise long life of love and happiness. You never emerge from those depths, so you never get to hear my answer. Yes, yes, a million times, yes, I will marry you. We never got to embrace and celebrate the beginning of the rest of our lives together, as the best day of our lives turned into the worst and the cruelest twist of fate imaginable. I will try to take solace in the fact that we enjoyed the most amazing bucket list experiences these past few days, and that we both were so happy and absolutely giddy with excitement in our final moments together.